My disabled brother's ramp was demolished while I was at work. The neighbor left a sign. Eyesore removed. You're welcome. I called every city department. No one helped. So, I built something bigger, right on the property line, and that's when he finally... We live about 25 minutes outside of Dayton, Ohio. It's a regular neighborhood. No gates, no official HOA, but people act like there is one. I bought the place 5 years ago after our mom passed away. It was cheap, a little rundown, but it was ours. Just me and my brother, Matthew. He's 27 now. A car accident 6 years ago changed everything. He was in the passenger seat with a friend who ran a red light. They got T-boned. His friend walked away with a broken wrist. Matthew was in a coma for weeks. He never fully recovered. Now he uses a wheelchair, doesn't speak, and needs help with just about everything. He's still sharp in some ways. You can tell when he's happy or mad. He hums when he's calm. Taps his fingers when he's anxious. But yeah, it's been hard. I work maintenance for the school district. It's steady. I leave early and get back mid-afternoon. I drop Matthew off at adult daycare on my way. They help with meals, therapy, all that. It's not ideal, but it's what I can afford. Medicaid covers part of it. The rest comes out of my check. The ramp was something I built right after we moved in. I didn't know what I was doing. I looked up videos online, made a few trips to the hardware store. It wasn't pretty, but it worked. It went from the porch down to the sidewalk, curved slightly, so I could push the wheelchair easily to the van. The wood got weathered, but it was solid. It gave Matthew freedom. That ramp meant something. Donald never saw it that way. He moved in a year after us. Big gray house next door. Perfect grass. Real estate signs in the windows. He runs a small property business, flips houses, stuff like that. Always has a Bluetooth headset in. Always barking orders. The first time we met, he didn't even say his name. Just said, "Your ramp's a code issue. Might want to look into that." I laughed, thinking he was joking. He wasn't. Over the next couple years, he'd complain randomly. "That thing's a liability. You know, rainwater's draining onto my lawn. Looks like a termite hotel." I usually ignored him. Told myself not to waste energy. I had bigger things to deal with. But I saw him watching us. Taking photos. Measuring stuff with one of those wheeled distance things. Once he was literally crouched in the grass, looking under the ramp. When I asked what he was doing, he stood up and said, "Checking property encroachment. Nothing personal." Then he smiled like it was a joke. Fast forward to 3 weeks ago. I came home from work. Matthew's daycare van had just pulled up too. I walk him up to the house, and I stop dead in my tracks. The ramp was gone. There was nothing there. Just a patch of torn-up grass and broken boards. Nails and screws scattered around like confetti. It looked like someone took a sledgehammer to it and just didn't care about the mess. And right in the middle of the lawn, staked into the dirt, was a plastic sign. "Eyesore removed. You're welcome." I just stood there, gripping the handles of Matthew's chair. My stomach dropped. My hands were shaking. He started tapping his fingers, fast, his way of saying he was stressed. I had to pick him up, carry him one step at a time up the porch. I'm not a small guy, but I'm not young either. I could feel something pull in my back. Got him inside. Put on his favorite nature show. I didn't even take my boots off. Just walked straight next door. Donald opened the door like he'd been waiting. He didn't even act surprised. "You destroy my brother's ramp?" I asked. He didn't flinch. "I removed a code-violating, unsafe structure that extended onto my property." "You're welcome." "You have no right." He smiled. "I warned you. You ignored me. I documented everything. I even filed a complaint last month. Nothing got done, so I handled it. I'm calling the police." "Do it. They'll tell you the same thing. Civil matter. Your ramp crossed the line. 4 inches." I measured. I walked away before I did something I'd regret. Called the cops. He was right. They took a report, but said it was a property dispute. "Take him to small claims court," the officer said. "Otherwise, it's between you two." I spent the next week lifting Matthew every day. Twice a day. Up and down those porch steps. My back was shot. I started waking up in pain. At night, I'd lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, just stewing. Nobody helped. I called zoning, code enforcement, disability advocates. Everyone passed the buck. Every phone call ended in, "We understand, but..." And then something just flipped in me. I wasn't going to yell anymore. I was going to build. First thing I did was pull out the survey papers that came with the house. Looked at the property lines. Measured everything again. Twice. Donald was technically right. A tiny part of the ramp stuck into his yard. 4 inches. Fine. I wasn't going to argue over inches. I was going to take feet. The next weekend, I borrowed my buddy Rick's truck. Drove to Lowe's, filled it with lumber, cement, posts, screws. Took 2 days off work and told Matthew's daycare he'd be out for a bit. He stayed inside, and I built outside. What I built wasn't a ramp. It was a wall. Not like a cute garden fence. A real wall. 6 feet high, the legal limit. Ran it straight along the property line. Edge to edge. Right where the ramp used to be. I didn't stop there. I painted the side facing his yard bright orange. Not a soft orange, highway cone orange. I bought 4 cans. Made sure every board screamed. Then I added lights. 2 motion-activated ones. They clicked on whenever someone walked past, which meant his driveway lit up every time he got home or checked his mail. And I didn't stop there. I installed a cheap outdoor speaker. Wired it to a solar battery. Set it to play low-volume whale sounds every evening from 6 to 9 p.m. It wasn't loud enough to break any laws, but it was weird enough to drive someone insane. Donald came over the first day the wall went up. He knocked hard. I opened the door and didn't say a word. "This is harassment," he said. "Nope," I said. "It's privacy." "I'll report you." "Go for it." He stomped back to his house. For the next week, I saw him pacing outside with a clipboard, taking photos, talking loudly on the phone. I heard words like retaliation and visual nuisance. The city came by once. A guy in a pickup took a few pictures, nodded, and left. Didn't even come to my door. Nothing happened. So I made a new ramp. This one in the backyard. Bigger, smoother, with a covered section so Matthew wouldn't get wet in the rain. All within my property line. I was still mad. Still hurting. But at least my brother had a way to get out again. Then I sent an email. There's this local segment on the news called Neighbors and Good Deeds. I wrote out everything, the ramp, the sign, the city doing nothing. Told them I wasn't looking for pity, just wanted to show how people treat each other when no one's watching. They emailed back within a day. Sent a camera crew out on a Saturday. They filmed us using the new ramp. Asked me a few questions. I didn't say anything bad about Donald directly. Just said, my brother deserves access to the world. That ramp wasn't an eyesore. It was a lifeline. They aired the segment the next night. And, in the background, you could see Donald. Arms crossed, standing on his porch, glaring at the camera crew. 2 days later, I saw a real estate agent's car in his driveway. By the end of the week, there was a for sale sign out front. He didn't say a word to me. He just started packing. I thought that would be the end of it. But Donald wasn't done. One morning, I found a letter taped to my front door. No envelope. Typed. No signature. It said, "Congratulations on your little TV moment. I hope the attention was worth it. You might have won this time, but people like you always bring neighborhoods down. Enjoy the wall while you can." I crumpled it, threw it out. But it stayed in my head. Then weird things started happening. A city inspector showed up out of nowhere, asking about unpermitted structures. Said there'd been a complaint. Wanted to check the ramp in the back. I let him look. He didn't find anything wrong, but it rattled me. A week later, I got a citation in the mail. Said I had non-compliant outdoor lighting. Donald was the only one who could have reported it. I replaced the motion lights with softer ones. Still legal. Still annoying, just less so. He couldn't get me on that either. Then one night, around 11 p.m., I heard a banging noise. Went outside. Someone had spray painted "Get Out" across the orange side of the wall. Big black letters. still dripping. I stood there, staring at it. My first instinct was to get a bucket, scrub it off. But I didn't. I left it. Let everyone see what kind of people live in this nice neighborhood. When Donald came out the next morning, I saw him glance at it. I saw the twitch in his jaw. He never said anything. But 2 days later, the for sale sign came down. He wasn't moving anymore. That's when it turned personal. Packages started going missing from my porch. Amazon said they were delivered, but nothing was there when I got home. I set up a cheap security camera under the eave. The second night it was up, it caught someone in a hoodie walking up and taking a box. I couldn't see a face, but I could see the shoes. White New Balances with a red stripe. The same ones Donald wore when he mowed his lawn. I took the footage to the cops. They shrugged. Said without a clear face, there was nothing they could do. Just told me to keep an eye out and maybe get a P.O. box. That night, I sat in my living room with the lights off just thinking. And I realized something. He wanted me angry. He wanted me tired. He wanted to wear me down until I gave up or left. So I stopped fighting and started planning. I don't know if he'll move. I don't even care anymore. I just know that every time I roll Matthew down that new ramp, every time I see his fingers relax and he hums because he feels safe again, I remember what people are capable of. Not strangers. Neighbors. People who wave at you while they're already holding a knife behind their back.